Time for prayer.
O worthy God, the preserver and protector of all, you are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison, and none can measure you. You are without color, without expression, without form, and without attributes. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You are indivisible, and none can see you but with eyes divine. You always were, you always are, and you always will be. You are everywhere, you are in everything, and you are also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You are in the firmament and in the depths. You are manifest and unmanifest, on all planes and beyond all planes. You are in the three worlds and also beyond the three worlds. You are imperceptible and independent. You are the Creator, the Lord of Lords, the knower of all minds and hearts. You are omnipotent and omnipresent. You are knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You are the ocean of knowledge, all-knowing, infinitely knowing, the knower of the past, the present, and the future, and you are knowledge itself. You are all-merciful and eternally benevolent. You are the soul of souls, the one with infinite attributes. You are the Trinity of truth, knowledge, and bliss. You are the source of truth, the ocean of love. You are the Ancient One, the highest of the high. You are Prabhu and Parameshwar. You are the Beyond God and the Beyond God also. You are Parabrahma, Allah, Ilahi, Yastan, Ahura Mazda, and God the Beloved. You are named Isa, the only one worthy of worship. We repent, O God, most merciful, for all our sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean, for every word spoken that ought not to have been spoken, for every deed done that ought not to have been done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent most especially for every lustful thought and every lustful action, for every lie, for all hypocrisy, for every promise given but not fulfilled, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially also we repent for every action that has brought ruin to others, for every word and deed that has given others pain, and for every wish that pain should befall others. In your unbounded mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, and to forgive us for our constant failures to think and speak and act according to your will. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more, and more and more, and still yet more, till we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to Baba's Daman till the very end. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Welcome to another beautiful Saturday for our EastWest Satsang and this space of Arti where we give our revered loving offerings to Baba is a space with deep sacredness where we are putting this offering from our heart to Baba, the beyond God, and to the Baba within all of us. So, with that, we begin our sharing. Please digitally raise your hands. I will put the instructions once again in the chat. They have been put, and we will begin the beautiful Saturday. And we have Meher to read first. Jai Baba Meher, please begin.
Jai Baba. This is about that card game. Baba would play card games in Guru Prasad. One day, a judge participated in the game of La Risk. For the first time, Baba explained to him, I play for three reasons. First, the burden of universal work gets lightened. Second, the minds of players are focused on me in a very natural manner. And the third, in the game of la risk is The players are divided into two parties. At the end of each game, those who lose the game have to rub their noses uh, on the carpet before me. The highest of the high. This is a rare privilege, and thus the losers become the winners. Baba ended by quoting fine Urdu couplet. That means it is game in which winner feels ashamed and the loser rejoices. Jai Baba. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Wonderful. Thank you, Meher. And now we have Sanobar. Jai Baba.
This is a reading from one of my WhatsApp groups. So I don't know the extract or where it's from, but it really resonated because it's a kind of prayer for to be recited in the morning and in the night. Now that Meher Baba is physically among you, you feel the contact. But when I leave you, gradually this cools down. How to retain it constantly? Well, do you feel constantly hungry? When you work hard, you get hungry. When you feel hungry, you take food, and then you forget about the food. So work for me in such a way that you feel hungry for me. Sometimes think of me, sometimes work for me, sometimes talk about me, but not all the time. If you go on eating continually, you will get indigestion. Before you go to bed, say, Baba, I entrust all that I did, thought, or spoke, good and bad, to you. When you get up, say, Baba, I now begin entrusting all thoughts, words, and deeds to you. Say this just twice each day for 5 minutes, but with all your heart in it. Do that and make me responsible for all you do or think. Then you are free. But you must do it honestly. This much will be more than sufficient to maintain the contact with me. I am the ocean. I can accept both flowers, coconuts, and also filth. So throw everything in the ocean with all your heart. This is a great thing if done wholeheartedly. Otherwise, it goes into your own pool of water, which gets filthy because of your dirt. Jai Baba. Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Thank you for this beautiful reminder, Sanobar. How more easy can God make it for all of us? Jai Baba. And we have our lovely Angela. Jai Baba.
Jay Baba Sanaba, that's great. Really beautiful. I would love to post that. Oh, Meher Baba, my only Baba, show me how to receive your grace. Tell me how I can please you, just to see a smile upon your face. Baba, 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 you are the sun. Baba, 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 Baba. Oh, Meher Baba, you're the only one. Oh, Meher Baba, my only Baba. For me, your name is the word of words. It's in the song of your many lovers, and I hear it in the song of the birds. Ba 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 ba. You are the sun. Ba 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 ba. Oh, Meher Baba, you're the only one. Oh, Meher Baba, my only Baba. You are my Lord and you are my friend. There never was or will be another. I am truly yours until the end. Ba 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 ba. You are the sun. Ba 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 ba. Oh, Meher Baba, you're the only one. Oh, Meher Baba, my only Baba. Show me how to receive your grace. Tell me how I can please you, just to see a smile upon your face. Ba 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 ba. You are the sun. Ba 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 ba. Oh, Meher Baba, you're the only one. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. That was beautiful. Thank you, Angela. And now we have dear Jack, Jai Baba.
Morning, everybody, and all around the world. This particular ghazal has a great story behind it, but it would take too long to bring it up. But one of these days I will. It speaks to Baba's use of some of us as transmitters. And I think we all realize that if there's one thing that Baba wanted to put forth, it's transparency, that we should constantly share what happens, because my ghazal writing is his. It's a gift. So this occurred in 1980, about 88, and it's a dream that occurred in an afternoon nap, where prior to that I was sitting in my chair and sort of berating myself for my ignorance. It's all me. Oh, beloved, when you sat beside me and your arm caressed my shoulders and rocked me into your embrace in that moment of dark, deepest despair, when you whispered to my ear with a wind of silent, breathless beauty, what you conveyed left my being in total restoration and repair. 'Twas this that reminded me that in each and every moment, loving you is both my obligation and my duty. And my sight went into a deeper inner seeing. For I had awakened in a dream to a commotion and a stir. You were heading down my cedar tree lane, western gopis in full surround. Your stride was so lovely, your feet a mesmerizing blur. Your hair was so flowing, your being so unbound. Time stopped for a moment. Overwhelming emotions ensued, for I felt so undeserving and so replete with blame. Oh, beloved, I just could not face you. And so off the deck stairs I flew and sat on a log, face between my legs, head and arms covered in shame. Get me out of this place, my heart did beg, and the tears were flowing like rain. But a feeling, a probing, your gentle arm enfolding, shook loose self-pity and utter despair, and wiped away loneliness and impressions holding, and restored my soul with your grace of loving care. What was it then, this energy that did all this? What was it then that caused a brief glimpse of your bliss? So set my soul soaring, feeling boundlessly free. It was when you leaned in and whispered, "It's all me, it's all me." It's impossible to recapture that momentous feeling, the one that recedes as if into thin air. For back in this earthbound dream, with its heavyweight impressions, all I can do is shout to the sun, "It's not fair, it's not fair." And get on with my love, my duty, my life, and shake off these deep-rooted impressions. O Ambrose, of me dreams and glimpses I may grant, whether on wish or whim, so as to remind you that of me nothing can ever supplant, but to keep loving me, remembering me, and I'll fill your cup to the brim, and your dream is really my dream, the real movie film. All right. Back.
Sorry, Jack, lost your voice. I guess it's done.
Yeah. Or you go on.
Yeah, he finished.
Okay, all right. Jai Baba. And we now have dear Rati. Jai Baba.
जय बाबा
Rati, please unmute.
जय बाबा। बाबा तेरे चरणों की कर धूल भी मिल जाए, मैं हर तेरे चरणों की कर धूल भी मिल जाए। सच कहता हूँ मेरी तकदीर बदल जाए, बेबा तेरे चरणों की सुनते हैं तेरी रहमत, दिन रात बरसती है, एक बूंद ही मिल जाए, कलीमन की खिल जाए, बाबा तेरे चरणों की। ये मन बड़ा चंचल है, कैसे तेरा भजन करूं, जितना इसे समझाऊं उतना ही मचल जाए, बाबा तेरे चरणों की। नजरों से गिराना ना, चाहे जितनी सजा देना, नजरों से गिराना ना, चाहे जितनी सजा देना, नजरों से जो गिर जाए, मुश्किल है संभल पाए, बाबा तेरे चरणों की। बाबा इस जीवन में बस इतनी तमन्ना है, बाबा इस जीवन में बस इतनी तमन्ना है, तू सामने हो मेरे, मेरा दम ही निकल जाए, बाबा तेरे चरणों की कर धूल भी मिल जाए, सच कहता हूँ मेरी तकदीर बदल जाए, बाबा तेरे चरणों की, मैं हर तेरे चरणों की। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Lovely, Bhikkhu. Thank you so much. And now we have Michelle. I'll take my turn later. Michelle, please unmute.
Oh, it said it wasn't allowing me, and then and I wrote okay. Sorry.
Because some get unmuted in between, so that is why.
I gotta have the control. Last night I found out that a dear, sweet sparrow, songbird, in a different circle of mine, who's only 30, took her life March 1st. And yeah, it's just so shocking. So please pray for Allie Aird's soul. Okay, where am I? On my way back to you, is not where I've been. My heart's been broken. My life's a right mess. And still I sit here hoping, on my way back to you. On my way back to you. I don't know what I'm doing. On my way back to you. The right turn somehow I'll make. If I could hold on to the hand of truth, surely I've been knowing. On my way back to you. On my way back to you. I can feel the path, see the path clear now. On my way back to you. Your love leads me there. If I could hold on to the hand of truth, surely I've been knowing. On my way back to you. On my way back to you. I know that's where I'm going. On my way back to you. Your love leads me there. Jai Baba, Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. A thought and prayer. May Baba's love
She
be
was
there.
only 30 years old. So young, so young. She could have been my daughter. I felt like she was my daughter.
We have dear Gail now, Jai Baba. Yes, please unmute Gail.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It seems like a really good time to hear Baba's words. So this morning I'm going to share How to Love God, message given by Mayor Baba on 12th September 1954. To love God in the most practical way is to love our fellow beings. If we feel for others in the same way as we feel for our own dear ones, we love God. If instead of seeing faults in others, we look within ourselves, we are loving God. If instead of robbing others to help ourselves, we rob ourselves to help others, we are loving God. If we suffer in the sufferings of others and feel happy in the happiness of others, we are loving God. if instead of worrying over our own misfortunes, we think of ourselves more fortunate than many, many others, we are loving God. If we endure our lot with patience and contentment, accepting it as His will, we're loving God. If we understand and feel that the greatest act of devotion and worship to God is not to hurt or harm any of His beings, we are loving God. To love God as He ought to be loved, we must live for God and die for God, knowing that the goal of all life is to love God and find Him as our own self. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai.
Thank you, Gail. Once again, a very beautiful reminder, just like what Sanobar shared. Thank you. And now we have dear Tina G. S. Irani. Please unmute, Tina.
Yeah, I take little different names to amuse you. I hope they do. And I'm going to read an excerpt from Mara Meher. You know, we have that study group on Thursdays at 2. And we read this excerpt from a chapter called Misadventures. On the journey to Kashmir, Baba sat in the front seat next to the driver with all 3 women in the back. A curtain hung between the front and back seats so that Mara remained secluded. The driver, however, was wearing copious amounts of perfumed hair oil, and the car reeked with the scent. Mani was sitting directly behind him and gagged at the smell. Taking a shortcut, Baba's car drove through a heavily forested area, but the car went over a rock that punctured the gas tank, which began leaking, and they had to stop and wait for the station wagon, which arrived 10 minutes later. The men got out, and Baba and the women continued in the station wagon to the dock bungalow for lunch. After they washed their hands and began to open the tiffin carrier that they had brought from Raipur, they found the top container with the bread opened easily, but the second, third, and fourth compartments with the rice, vegetables, and dal were stuck. Baba asked what was going on, and Mara explained that the hot dal must have created a vacuum inside the carrier and the lids would not come off. Meanwhile, the mandali arrived and Baba sent a carrier to them with Rano, saying they should open it. The men pulled and tugged until finally the lids opened. About 1 o'clock, with Jal driving his own car and Rano in the back seat, Baba and the other 3 women started for Nagpur. Mara described the journey. Evening fell and it grew dark. Nagpur was coming. We started feeling hungry, tired, and sleepy. At last, we saw some lights in the forest. Baba wanted to rest for the night. He told Jal to find a traveler's bungalow, and we drove there, happily looking forward to a nice bite to eat and rest. It was a nice big house. The Mandali got down from the second car to arrange for the room, but it was full. We had to drive on and on and on, 9, 10, 11 o'clock. There was a bit of moonlight. It was nearly 1 o'clock and there was no tea house in sight. An incline came and the car stalled. Baba told us to get down. Finally, the car did start, but it wouldn't go forward, and Jal told us to give it a push. We were so tired and hungry, and now we had to push the car. Baba himself was pushing, and Mehru and Mani were helping. Well, I'll stop there. But you could see they had a lot of misadventures on their travels.
Jai Baba. Thank you so much, Tina. And now we have Alan Ray. Jai Baba.
Jai Meher Baba. And a blessed Saturday, whether it's morning or evening. Hold on just a second. Thank you very much. So, tomorrow, there's yet another special concert at 2:30 in the afternoon. That's Eastern time. And this is going to be another of Jamie Newell's concert. And at least in India, I'm going to share what has become perhaps Jamie Newell's signature original tune, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. So if you care to, sing along. Usta Daniwa, Usta Daniva, Usta Daniva, Usta Daniva, Usta Daniva, Usta Daniva, Usta Daniva, Usta Daniva. Oh me, Daniva me, Daniva me. Dhanyavad mein, oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Armaz dhanyavad, urmaz dhanyavad, urmaz dhanyavad, urmaz dhanyavad. Dhanyavad, Zartos dhanyavad. Zartos dhanyavad, Zartos dhanyavad. Oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Rama dhanyavad, Rama dhanyavad, Rama dhanyavad, Rama dhanyavad. Krishna dhanyavad, Krishna dhanyavad, Krishna dhanyavad, Krishna dhanyavad. Oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Buddha dhanyavad, Buddha dhanyavad, Buddha dhanyavad, Buddha dhanyavad. Jesus dhanyavad, Jesus dhanyavad, Jesus dhanyavad, Jesus dhanyavad. Oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Mama dhanyavad, Mama dhanyavad, Mama dhanyavad, Mama dhanyavad. Meher dhanyavad, Meher dhanyavad, Meher dhanyavad, Meher dhanyavad. Oh Meher dhanyavad, Meher dhanyavad, Meher dhanyavad mein. Oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Baba dhanyavad, Baba dhanyavad, Baba dhanyavad, Baba dhanyavad. Baba dhanyavad, Baba dhanyavad, Baba dhanyavad, Baba dhanyavad. Oh mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein, dhanyavad mein. Oh man, Johnny Bud man, Johnny Bud man, Johnny Bud man. Oh man, Johnny Bud man, Johnny Bud man, Johnny Bud man. Oh man, Johnny Bud man, Johnny Bud man, Johnny Bud man. Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Alan Ray, for this
Thank
lovely
you.
version.
Thank you, Baba.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Baba.
Jamie Newell.
And now we have dear Rati. Rati, please unmute. We can't hear
Jai
you.
Baba everyone.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can.
Yeah. Jai Baba everyone. Haven't you heard his silent step? He comes, comes, ever comes. Know that in each and every age he comes, comes, ever comes. Haven't you seen his lovely eyes? They are full, full, full of love. Shine with the light of our dear God, dear stars, sun, flames of love. The sweet sound of his name unites all joy and pain, and the sparks of our life join us one in his flame. Haven't you heard his silent steps in your heart? He comes, ever comes. Hearing the sound of his sweet name, he comes, comes, ever comes. Baba, Baba, Meher Baba, Baba, Meher Baba. Baba, Baba, Meher Baba, Baba, Meher Baba. The sweet sound of his name unites all joy and pain, and the sparks of our lives join us one in his flame. Haven't you heard his silent call of love that burns within, releasing the fragrance our lives contain? His love, his light come again. Baba, Baba, Meher Baba, Baba, Meher Baba. Baba, Baba, Meher Baba, Haven't you heard his silent step in your heart? He comes, ever comes. Hearing the sound of his sweet name, he comes, comes, ever comes. Baba, Baba, Meher Baba, Baba, Meher Baba. Baba, Baba, Meher Baba, Baba, Meher Baba. Baba, Baba, Meher Baba, Baba, Meher Baba. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय.
How beautiful was that? Thank you, Rati. Jai Meher Baba. Now I shall read. This is an excerpt from Gift of God by Arnavas Dada Chanji. Worry is the master of all. Throughout this holiday, Baba was in a fine mood. We enjoyed going for walks with him in the bracing mountain air and had great fun playing games with him. In one game, Baba would show us his alphabet board and ask us to guess a number. He would then take something off the dining table, like a sugar ball, and give it as a prize to the person who had guessed correctly. Dr. Alu had bought a new tea set for Baba, and when we played this game on the last day of our stay, it was these items that Baba gave us as prizes. I received a lovely blue nut ball and a white butter pot, each piece each piece precious because Baba had given it with his own hands. These days were certainly a treat, but there was also a time for serious training. Baba often quoted from the perfect masters Kabir and Tukaram. I particularly remember that Kabir said, "Worry eats everyone. Worry is the master of all. But those who swallow worry, they are the ones who become fakirs." He also said, "When the master gives on his own, it is like his giving milk. When you ask the master to give, it is like his giving water. But when you force the master to give, it is like extracting blood from him." Baba also commented on the importance of obedience and surrender, quoting Tukaram. "The inherent nature with which you are born remains with you. It does not change." Even after Tukaram became a perfect master, he went on singing bhajans because that was his inherent nature. Baba said, "The nature you are born with remains with you, but you can modify and change through obedience and surrenderance to God." Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai. And next we have Dear Al Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. I have a song here, Come Softly to Me. It's really a chant and a song combined. So we'll see how it goes. Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba. I want you to know, I love you so, I love you so. Please come night and day, come night and day. Please come to stay, please come to stay. Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, 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 come softly to me, come softly, I pray, come softly, darling, each night and day. Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba. I've waited so long, waited so long. Please hear my song, please hear my song, please come to me now, come to me now, as my beloved pal, beloved pal. Meher my Baba, Baba my Meher, Meher my Baba, Baba my Meher. Please come to me now, come to me now. Please come to me now, come to me now. Please come to me now, come to me now. Please come to me now, come to me now. Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba, Meher, Meher Baba, Meher Baba. Jai Baba, and thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Al. Always such joyous shares from everyone. What a beautiful evening, morning.
The song is Come Softly to Me, but I wouldn't mind if he came with the thunder and lightning, just so he comes. Anyway he wants to come, just come.
Jai Baba. And now we have dear Rosalie.
Jai Baba, happy to be on the blue bus zooming with everyone. Your little pictures, I really know you're bigger than that. This is a sharing from Norina's gift. Baba said this Advent, he's taking us from intellectual knowledge to intuitive. So here we go. Ye doctrinaires and philosophers of the world, do not stifle your hearts with dry and high-sounding theories. Your loftiest theories are not worth one moment of divine love. Leave your hair-splitting theories to take care of themselves. Free yourself from the unending disputes about trifles. All things appear in the right perspective, in the final understanding of realization. When reflected in the intellect, the indivisible wholeness of truth gets broken into many aspects or facets. Attachment to one aspect makes you blind to other aspects. Far beyond the creeds of the world is the simple perception of the real. Be no more distracted by words, phrases, and slogans. Collect yourself. In the stillness of mind, there is unfathomable. In the stillness of mind, there is unfathomable understanding. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Rosalie. What a delightful narrative. And I love that little blue bus. And we have Meher Darwala who wants to share once more. Okay. Yes,
What?
Meher.
Jai Baba. One day.
Meher?
Yeah.
Uh, since you have already read, can we have Betty and then you can share, because today we have story sharing any which ways.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jai Baba.
All right. Sorry, I jumped at the last minute. This is a Malcolm Schloss poem put to music by Bob Brown and Jim Meyer. We think of him. He sings it beautifully. If the sun did not shine. If the sun did not shine, to whom would the flowers turn? How would the mango grow? If the sea were not spread, to what would the rain descend? Whither the river flow? If God came not as a man, how could we really know that we could love him so? How could we really know that we could love him so? How could we really know that we could love him so? If the earth did not spin, how would the light return? Where would the darkness go? If the air were not rare, how would the breathing flow? Where would the spirit go? How would he really know that he could love us so? Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. Thank you, Betty. Yes, dear Meher, you can share now. Thank you for your understanding.
Hey, Baba. Okay. One day, Kaushik gave Katie some plums to give to Baba. When she took the basket of fruit to his room, Baba picked one up and held it out to her. Katie thought the fruit was only meant for the master and said, "No, thank you, Baba. This is for you." Baba angrily gestured to Chanji. She refused what I gave her. Doesn't she know the importance of my gift? Doesn't she know that when I give something, you don't say no? Katie started crying, and Baba signaled to Chanji, explained to her that when I give something, one must never say no, even if one doesn't like it. Baba lovingly embraced Katie, indicating, "Now, will you remember to accept whatever I give you?" "Yes, Baba," said Katie. Baba picked up a big plum, nice big plum and brought it to her mouth. Katie opened her mouth wide, but Baba popped the fruit into his mouth and ate it. Katie burst out laughing at Baba's trick, and her fright vanished. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Meher, for the sweet story. And
Welcome.
now we move into our sharing of Baba stories, experiences, songs, anything that you want to offer as your life experience. Please share. And to begin that sharing, we have Viola, who's put up her hand.
Oh, I'm so happy to see everyone and be here with everyone and hear people sing and read. Very grateful to be here. I didn't know we were sharing. So could you just say again what we're sharing? I'm so
You
sorry.
could you could
Go
you
ahead and
could
say.
share anything. You could share an experience, a story, you could read, you want to say a song, anything.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The Baba story session every first Saturday.
Oh, it's a story
But we are,
session.
yes,
Okay.
but we are open to any thing. You could have an anecdote with your song along with, and yes, any offering to Baba is open.
I was going to sing, but I realize it's story
So
now.
please sing.
No,
Bala, please sing.
Okay, I'm very hard. Sorry.
Please sing. Any offering.
Okay.
Everything is for Baba.
The water is wide, I can't cross over, and neither have I wings to fly. Give me a boat that can carry two shall grow, my love and I. When first I heard my beloved sing, I thought his voice was summer's rain. But now my heart strains to hear his sighs. In winter graves no tongue can name. The ocean is here, I can't cross over, and all I have is a lover's dream. Bring me home to your heart beloved, where love awakens me to you. Jai Baba. So grateful to be with you all. Thank you, Baba, for this time together. Jai Baba.
What a beautiful sharing, Bala. So soothing. Thank you so much. And we now have Michelle who wants to present a new song to us. Dan to Baba, Jai Meher
Oh, okay.
Baba.
I could do that, but I could also tell the story of
Please do.
way back to you. So I'm sitting, it's dinner time, and I went to the piano, and this first lines came through on my way back to you. I hope that's where I'm going. Bang, bang, bang on the piano, hook the chords out. On my way back to you, matters not where I've been. My heart's been broken, my life's a right mess. And my husband yells out, hey, what did I do? I'm like, I don't know. And so then dinner was ready, and I had to go and do things. And then, so Aaron was little. I don't know what year this is. But whatever year Don Stevens passed, now here we go. That's the thing. So I go back to the piano after all the bath and all the things with the boy, because he was little at the time, like maybe 6 or 7. And I go back to the piano, and I'm taken over. And this song just pours through me and finishes. So I write, on my way back to you, I don't know what I'm doing. And then the next line comes, and then there's this energy in the room that was palpable for me. It was like confusion, and I don't know what's happening, and I really was taken over. And then the lyric, if I could hang on to the hand of truth, surely I'll be knowing on my way back to you. And the energy shifted. And then the last thing came, on my way back to you, I can see the path clear now. And then it's finished, the song, exactly at 10 o'clock at night. And so there were no rewrites. The song literally just came through me. And I think in the morning I added the last, I know that's where I'm going, your love leads me there. That's possible. But what happened, that was before the internet, and we had the listserv. And it came up on the listserv that Don Stevens passed away the exact same time, Paris time or London time, that I finished writing that song. And then that fall, we had, and I was sure that was not me, because I experienced being taken over by some alternative. I mean, it wasn't, I always feel like songs are happenings, and that song happened. And it's a rare thing that a song comes through so clearly without rewrites and chord progression, everything like boom, 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 there. But it does happen. Those are I always feel like it's not me as a writer. I'm a writer, yes, but I'm really the conduit. And then Tom Riley and Kathy were our guests in Chicago, and Tom was telling his story, and especially about God Speaks. Bob has asked him for a synopsis, and he basically essentially said, "The journey back to you." I'm cutting some of it out, so forgive me. But I'm sitting there with Birdie, Roberta Lewis. Some of you may know Birdie. She lives in India, was very close to Bauji. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, the journey back to you, on the way back to you, that song, Don Stevens. It was just another clue or whatever, that it was such a gift for Baba. That song is so special. But that's my story about that song, Jai Baba. So that's the story. If you want me to sing this other song, I can do it, but
Please, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. So this is still this happened this week. On Monday, I skipped Arti and I wrote this thing, and then Cassandra read this Balna 2 poem. Remember Me for Nothing. Oh, I should put this in the chat. Shoot, the way it is. But I shifted it and turned part of his. I turned it into a song because it had the construct of this hook. Remember Me for Nothing, and there's this remember me in the beginning, remember me in the end. I will take care of the in between. So I moved that under. Anyway, I shifted things around. That's what songwriters do. So here we go. Ba 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 ba. The moment you get up, remember me for nothing. When you go to bed, remember me just for nothing. When you leave your house for a moment, remember me for nothing. Remembering me for nothing will relieve your stress and tension. Remember me for nothing, renew your heart with courage and cheer. Remember me in the beginning, remember me in the end, and I'll take care of the in-between. Remember me for nothing. Ba 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 ba. When you come home just for a moment, remember me for nothing. Before you have breakfast, remember me for nothing. When you finish your supper, remember me for nothing. Remember me for nothing. Well, enliven your thoughts and your deeds with heavenly music. I'll be the conductor of your life's symphony. Remember in the beginning, remember me in the end. I'll take care of the in-between. Ba-ba, 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 ba-ba. Remember me for nothing, you expect nothing from me. This prepare you for my real response to each moment you see. Catch the spirit of the game I play with you. In this nothing you may find the seeds of everything you need. Isn't it simple? Isn't it simple? Remember me for nothing. Ba 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 ba. Ba 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 ba. Remember me in the beginning, remember me in the end, and I'll take care of in between. Isn't it simple? Just remember me for nothing. Ba 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 ba. So maybe it's still rough on the edges a little, but there you go. Balnatu says, remember him for nothing, just for love.
Beautiful.
For love.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you.
Jai Baba.
Al, would you like to unmute?
Jay Baba, I was thinking one of my favorite and shortest Baba quotes I know. Baba says, "You need me," and I quite agree. So this song is a tribute to my needing Baba and to my agreement that I need him. It was originally, the words are my own, I re-lyricized it, but the original tune was a Roy Orbison tune of a song he sang shortly before he died called California Blues. Beautiful song, rather obscure. So anyway, I've retitled it Baba, I Need You. Here goes. Baba, I've been longing all day, with you on my mind, trying to get back to the love left behind. But it's been so long, Bob, it's been so long. I'm doing all I can do to get back to you. Baba, I need you. Baba, I need you. Living all alone, nothing left to do. Baba, I need you. Every day I pray that I'm on my way, sharing love with you. Baba, I need you. Some blissful day, I'll get back again. Somehow, some way, though I don't know when. Baba, I need you. Baba, I need you. And I'm so blue, Baba, I'm so blue. Baba, I need you. And it's so true, Baba, it's so true. Baba, I need you. Oh, I do, I do. Baba, I need you. Jai Baba, thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Al. Thank you. That was lovely. And Meher, you want to read something? You've put up your hand again, or you're not lowered your hand? Meher, you want to share something?
I don't want to say anything. I don't want. It came up on its own.
Oh,
Came up.
okay.
I don't want to say
Okay,
anything.
okay.
Thank you. I
Okay.
said mine. Thank you so much, Roshni.
Okay. And now we have Alan Ray once again.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Great. Whoops. There we go. Wait a minute. There we go. So back in the fall of '73, I just finished building a cabin after purchasing land in the thriving metropolis of 600 people there in Athens, Maine. And a dear friend from Vermont came, and he presented me with 2 pint bottles of pure Vermont maple syrup. And right now the sap is flowing, as it does in late February and early March every year. And it takes 40 gallons of maple sap to make 1 gallon of maple syrup. So I was presented with these 2 pints of maple syrup and invited to take them with me to India, my first trip to India, to Mehrabad, and to give these pint bottles of pure Vermont maple syrup to 2 holy ones in India. And after Amartithi, I had the blessed fortune of accompanying Pukar back to Hamirpur. And one day he dropped me off at Keshav Nigam, his home. And Keshav Nigam was one of Baba's close ones from Hamirpur. He gave us Meher Chalisa, which he recited in Baba's presence on numerous occasions at either Guru Prasad or Meherazad over the years. And I gave Keshav a pint bottle of maple syrup. Upon my return to Mehrabad, there was a period of a week, 10 days before Baba's birthday. And it seems as if every day a new song was kicking in. And one of them, Ode to Maple Syrup. I had the good fortune, very blessed fortune of sharing this song with Mera at Meherazad. And I was sitting near her. She was, of course, on her porch. And I gave her the second pint of pure maple syrup. So, Ode to Maple, that's the backstory. And here we go, Ode to Maple Syrup. The cutting winds and snow of winter abate with the coming of spring, as all the coldness in my heart begins to melt with the thought of you. The maple tree awakens, her sap is flowing again. I feel a fresh longing to be near you, as the cup of my heart, as the cup of my heart fills. The maple tree awakens, her sap is flowing again. I feel a fresh longing to be near you, as the cup of my heart, the cup of my heart fills. Satin becomes surf, light and clear. With one taste, the highest in quality appears. Thoughts turn to vision. Surely you are before me. With one glance from you, all virtue unfolds. Flowing straight from the tree, maple syrup with matchless purity is the sweetest of all, is the sweetest of all, is the sweetest of all. Such sweetness pervades from you, my dear, that all the angels are aware. Your love is divine. Your love is divine. Your love is divine. Jai Baba. Ode to
Jai
me.
Baba. What a wonderful story and song, Alan Ray. Thank you so much. So much richness in all these stories. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Baba.
Thank you, Baba. I shall read a story from the book Treasures from the Meher Baba Journals. This is from the chapter Spiritual Journey with a Modern Guru, the Blue Bus Tour, Part 2 by Elizabeth Patterson. An interesting event took place at the beginning of the year 1939. Upasni Maharaj, Meher Baba's second master, who was touring with his disciples at practically the same time in the same general direction as Baba, crossed through Jabalpur on his return to Sakori. No meeting between these two masters was necessary, for they are one in the realms of higher consciousness. But Maharaj sent one of his disciples to Baba's disciples with the message: Tell Merwan that this day I passed through his house. The exact meaning of this mystical phrase is: the paths of the two masters crossing makes one ponder the fact that these two currents of spirituality should fuse at such a materialistic time in the world. Perhaps the period for spiritual reascendancy may be near. The next stop on our journey is Banaras, one of the most ancient of spiritual centers in this age old land. To be with the Master under such circumstances is indeed to wonder at one's own privilege. India I have seen before. Any traveler can see India, but few can feel it. Still fewer can perceive its spiritual currents or understand anything of their trend. For I believe that India is the spiritual barometer for the world's religious currents. It was 12 years ago that I originally went to Banaras, that holy city where the Ganges flows, and with other passengers from an around the world cruise, saw the principal places of interest. At Banaras, thousands upon thousands of pilgrims from every corner of India came to bathe in the sacred waters. It was a cross section of life in its aspect of devotion. Rogues wished to be absolved of their sins, and seekers wished to find God. Of all this picturesque multitude, one memory remains most vividly in my mind. It was the look in the eyes of an old woman of over 80 years, when she was first when she first saw the holy Ganges. Poverty and paralysis could not daunt her spirit. Her grandson, a young man, had carried her on his back for 400 miles to fulfill her life's desire. That look of rapture, oblivious of all else save the sacred waters, was unforgettable. But was it the river itself? Or perhaps had God entered her soul at that moment? Who knows? Whatever it was that caused the sight of the Ganges to bring such extraordinary rapture to her ancient eyes, at the same time brought to my traveler's sense the knowledge that what I saw was only external. How much I was missing! I thought that if ever I did come to India again, it must be to see what to me was now unseen, yet to the earnest pilgrims was so tangible and real. My second visit to Banaras just now with the Master is the fulfillment of that wish, and it has made me perceive that it is not the waters but the spiritual atmosphere of the locality. Those in the West who have stayed at Assisi, Italy, will understand something of what I mean by spiritual atmosphere, for the life of Saint Francis has left vibrations and a rarefied purity that one actually experiences. Meher Baba told his disciples, what there is about Banaras or Kashi, as it was earlier called, is the atmosphere of great souls. Rama, Krishna, Buddha, Christ, Shankara, all were there for a period of their lives. The spiritual history of Banaras dates back at least 3,000 years before. Sorry. The spiritual history of Banaras dates back at least 3,000 years, probably longer, and the indelible imprints of these founders of religions can be the greater apprehended as one proceeds along the spiritual path. Also, Kabir, the great mystic and poet, drew his inspiration from these paths. Avtar Meher Baba ki Jai. So, would Dinesh, Rekha, Sita, I saw as well. Anybody would like to share some story? Come on, I'm sure we all have. Yes, Betty. Sorry, I missed the participants had collapsed.
Jay Baba, I have this story is about a friend who is a poet, and I came across his poems. His name is Ben Lee. He's a friend of Jack's. I came across his poems yesterday on a sweet story, so I called. He's kind of not doesn't like the limelight, so I called him yesterday and I said, Ben, can I want to read your story, and so he gave me permission. so so I will. He's at Marana in the foothills of the beautiful, yeah, which is another story. I'd like to talk about Marana one time. Anyway, different subject. Ben Lee. He wrote a poem about money in 1986, and he sent it to her, and she responded. So I'm going to read you that poem. It's called "From Lithe to Blythe." In her youth, she was very lithe, somersaulting down the lawn. Now her mind does cartwheels and swings on the carousel. A simple movement from lithe to blithe, but at some price, such as being nice when the occasion called for something worse. So many Mani letters did she devise to offer advice with love, with care unstinting, overriding fatigue and solitude dreaming while sitting at Godbrother's chair, revising all woe and wear to light and care, Like Alice in the rabbit's den, she saw the Cheshire cat smile and disappear. That would be Baba. Save for the smile that lingers still in the hearts full of love. Her eyes alight with a remembrance so constant it fills her postcards, so that crickets, magpies, and seahorses play flute, drum, and fife, bugling a song to life, followed by jays, turtles, and frogs, and a rabbit whose uniform magnifies the sun. Even a postcard announces a world chock full and brimming over with love for the ancient one. For some of us lucky to have been alive when she was alive, she decorated everything she sent to anybody with a little drawing. Oh, they were wonderful. All right, so Ben says, I sent this last poem to Mani in 1986, and she replied with a postcard that was a poem. And this is her postcard. Ahmednagar, 28 July, 86. From life to leet, a big heart's greeting. I'm smiling still from your poem treat. It's only too true. My desk is a zoo of frogs, crickets, and turtles, ready for any post hurdles who are clamoring to send their J Baba to you, Ben, 'cause they loved your poem too. Our love to you and to Berkeley friends. Your new place to gather is in his hands, and I'm sure he'll give it soon, in his time, which always rhymes. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Signed Mani, with a small drawing of a stick figure with hands and arms raised high. Now get this. The strangest part of the exchange, this is Ben now, is that it almost did not happen. I had second thoughts about sending the first poem. I wrote my poem in 1986, finished typing it, put it into an envelope, and walked to the mail drop box at the bottom of the hill at the intersection of Park Boulevard in Oakland. Then I decided not to mail it. Mani is too busy to be bothered, I concluded. So I walked farther to the local convenience store and bought something like a pack of gum and returned on my way to my apartment. I arrived back at the stoplight where the mail drop was and waited for the light to change. Up the hill, a car swung down and stopped right before me. The man, a mailman, rolled down his window, stuck his hand toward me, and said, "Give me the letter." I did. He drove off. That's how Mani got the poem. I took it as an example of Meher Baba's rare sense of humor. So there we have it. That's Ben's story, and I'm so glad this is recorded. I'm gonna give him the link. I want him to come on here too. He's a great poet.
That was so sweet and wonderful. And can we have would love and encourage everyone else. Let's hear some stories of how you came to Baba, and we could have some sharing. All the quiet, shy ones, please come on, share with us. Let's see some raised hands. Give some offering of a Baba story from your end for Baba and all of us. You can unmute. So, who would like to share? Don't be shy.
I think I've
Yes,
told
Al. Yes, Al. Oh, Al is leaving. I thought he was putting his hand up. I think he was saying a bye.
I've told my story. I could tell it again.
Beautiful. Yeah.
You want to?
Please share it again. Till then, we will ask the shy ones to come up with theirs. Yes, Betty, please continue.
In 1968, I was newly divorced. I had a young son, 4-year-old, and I I answered an ad for a job in a publishing company. I lived in Palo Alto, California. I answered an ad for a publishing company called Sullivan's near Stanford University, and they wanted an artist. I was not an artist. I submitted anyway, and she wanted me to draw some things, and I did, and submitted them. She said, the boss said, well, uh, how about being we called it paste up back then. It was pasting, what we called galleys, actual pasting text onto pages. This was before computers. Um, uh, and I could handle that. I was certainly not an artist, but there was something kind of charming about this company. Um, and so, yeah, I got that job. Went to work at Sullivan's, and doing pasting, and cutting, pasting, and putting together educational books. And at this at this company, um, this is, mind you, this was 68. There was a woman named Kathy Wiederholt who was charming and funny, and we all loved Kathy. And she's kind of I don't know, one of those people that tells great stories. So, and Kathy, we were really all a bunch of hippies. Um, the Kathy had found out about Baba. She had a Sufi friend, and so we because we loved her so much, um we kind of liked it. We liked and we always liked hearing her stories. And so she uh, um, decided to go to the darshan, the great darshan with Baba when he was alive, and that was kind of exciting to all of us. And I know I sewed a dress, I embroidered a dress for her. We all kind of participated in this great adventure of her going to India. And then another one loaned her money. And so it was 68. And then at that point, before she left, I went off to Mexico. Went off with on an adventure, kind of hitchhiking around with a boyfriend. My son went and stayed with his dad. So I missed the whole news about Baba passing. I didn't, I was gone for that. Kathy did say I had offered to give her money. So she said she tried to track me down, but that wasn't when I was gone. So, but so I came back and then I came back. In those days, it was so easy to pick up a job. I went and traveled around and came back and found out that Kathy did go with the Sufis. Oh, that was a story. Another good friend of ours, Laura Keeley, who's now a Sufi, Laura was there when when Kathy came time for Kathy to pay her last installment for the ticket, and because she didn't have the money, and Laura said she was so tense and about Kathy's situation that she went home early to find that she had an income tax return check. So she went running back to Kathy and gave her the check, and Kathy went up to of course, just in the nick of time, she paid her installment. And so she did go off to India. So I would come back and work at Sullivan's and go. And then I went up to Canada for a while. That was a whole, I was, I guess, in a hippie kind of, and I liked Baba a lot. Kathy was very charming and endearing. But I was not a Baba lover, but I would get invited. I would get invited to, I know when Arti and Margie, yeah, came to Berkeley. Uh, that was I got invited to things like that, and of course I would go. So it was, I thought, well, I wasn't quite ready to commit. I knew it was a big deal. I knew it was important that you, that not to take Baba lightly. And I didn't feel like I could commit to his instructions of living a fairly pure life. And so, but I certainly, respected him. Then later, I did go up to Canada, lived in a commune, had a gay old time, wonderful friends, but not there was definitely dope around, and um, and sex was taken kind of lightly. I mean, it was it and I got to a point where it all began to sour. And yeah, I felt like I really needed to straighten up my life, uh, for the sake of my son, if nothing else. I needed to be a better person, and so it was then in '72 that I began to take, well, maybe '71, but God much more seriously, and I would meditate, pray every day. Show me the way, please. Please show me what do I do, and uh, and it didn't come like a flash of light. I did hear my name spoken, but it was kind of a matter of fact decision. I looked around at the groups that I knew about, and I felt that the Baba lovers, and at that time it was mostly Sufis that I knew, they were the people with integrity and uh, uh, also a lot of fun. Uh, their lives appealed to me. So I just decided that that must be the way to go, and went back to California. Lived with my parents for 4 years, which was a wonderful healing time because they had sort of given up on me. um, being a respectable young lady. So I went back. I went back to Sullivan's and worked, and that was how I came to Baba. Started going to the Baba groups at Stanford University. Oh, at Sullivan's, that place, there were many Baba lovers working um, it was a little hub of Baba people. Heather was associated for a while, so Renee Busanich back east, um, because of a lot of them were Stanford people, smart young people who, and so that was a place to find, to connect with Baba. So, and the rest, life with Baba, the story goes on. So,
Jai Baba.
hey, Baba.
Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Betty. Thank you so much. So, does anyone else have some nice story out of their life with Baba? No one wants to share something? Yes, Rosalie. Thank you.
I have a good story, and I told this story to Mara on the porch, and she got such a kick out of it. She loved to hear people's Baba stories. Well, I was living up in Berkeley, California, and my introduction to Baba as Rosalie this lifetime was through the "Don't Worry, Be Happy" card. My roommate came back from Northern California, and she says, "Look what I got." And I was like a dog after a bone. I says, "Can I have that?" And she never came to Baba, but I was hook somehow. I never read the card. I never read the back of the card, but I thought that is so perfect. Don't worry, be happy. So then I ended up moving to Berkeley. It was the time of freedom of speech at UC Berkeley. It was a big thing. It was a big time. And I was not a hippie. I was just me. I didn't, yeah, maybe I was a hippie then, who knows? But okay, so I was up there and I says, I'm going to send one of these cards to my parents. I want my father he'll like this card. So I sent it down to Los Angeles. And my mother called me and she says, don't be sending your dad that weird spiritual stuff. And I thought, wow, she's very sharp. She picked up it was spiritual. And so anyway, time passed and I was in Los Angeles visiting and very, very into Baba and staying at my parents' house. And they had a little dog. It was not a nice little dog. It would snap at you. It was kind of jealous. And, yeah. Anyway, I'm playing the piano in the living room and my mother passes back behind me and she says, Baba. And I'm sitting at the piano and I says, wait a minute, Baba. It's in my mind and thinking this. I says, I'm with you for some time and you're appearing to my mother? I says, I don't like this. I mean, good that you're appearing to her, but what about me? So I turned to her and she's walking towards this not so nice little dog. And that was not the dog's name. The dog's name was Dolly, Dolly. And I says, Mama, why are you calling the dog Baba? She says, your father changed the name. I says, so later that day, I say to my father, Daddy, you changed the dog's name. He says, yeah, I changed the dog's name. I says, well, what does it mean? He says, I think it means beautiful. And I said, I think it does too. And after that, I had this love affair with the dog. I was there 2 more days and I said, Baba, I love you. So that name was filling that house to overflowing. And so I left, nothing was said. The next time I went there, the dog's name was changed back. It was Dolly again. And I told Mara that story and she absolutely, to me, it was like, Baba is so mischievous because, my parents my father was not so religious, but maybe more religious than I thought, very Catholic, and it was always so wonderful telling Mara something. To see her enjoy something it was like sharing directly with Baba. That's how I felt towards Mara. No division between you and Baba. When you were around Mara, she was totally Baba's. So anyway, that's my story. I'll never forget that though.
Thank you for this precious story. And I felt more love and more amused listening to it again, Rosalie. So that was beautiful.
No, Baba.
And that's the preciousness of Baba's stories, I guess, like so many Baba lover stories, even if I've heard them the nth number of times, every time that it is narrated, it's like fresh fragrance And there's so much of his love filled in that overflows more and more. And yes, Baba's humor.
Yeah.
He can change anybody's names anytime.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But I thought it was funny that he ended up having such a. I don't know if my father ever saw that card because my mother, she probably intercepted it. I don't know if he saw it. Maybe he did. I don't know. But Baba certainly made his mark. I'm the black sheep. Nothing. I'm the black sheep of my family. So Baba, yeah, yeah. And Baba, to me, it's so evident that he helps the family for generations because just that little story, changing the dog's name. I mean, and then mad about it. I'm changing it back. It's like, wow.
So beautiful. So
Yeah.
beautiful. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Yes. Lovely. So I feel we will move towards the end since we have no more raised hands to share some wonderful stories with us.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, Betty. Yes. Wow.
Wait.
Thank you so much.
I actually have a nice poem. There are several from Ben. It's about, there was a time at Amartithi when people would take a torch from Marizad and runners would run early in the morning with this torch all the way through Ahmednagar to Mehrabad. So, and Ben was one of those runners, and so he talks about that here.
What year?
Gosh, it doesn't say. This first poem was 86.
One of the last people to run when I was in India was Patty Curtis.
Patty Curtis.
Oregon. And Mara was unbelievably happy that a woman brought the torch in. She says, a woman brought it in. It's a woman. She fell down. She fell down carrying that 5-pound torch.
Yeah.
She fell to her knees in Nagar. You don't want to fall to your knee in Nagar. And she didn't drop the torch. She was like, and so it was just such a special, rare treat to be with Mara. So happy for women, a woman brought it in, Wow.
And we are around the Women's Day, Rosalie. On 8th of March.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've heard her tell. She gets on here. She should tell that story. She fell. She held it up. She didn't drop it, but she had to scramble. Yeah. And she
got some kind of infection or something.
Oh.
Yeah, so it wasn't. Yeah. That was a heavy thing. They had to train to do that. And she was, I don't know, she looked like an American Indian or,
Yeah, she has.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna tell Patty. She's a regular. I'll tell her to see this and come on here. Okay, so here's Ben's poem. Here's Ben's poem. It's called Pendu Speaks.
Wow.
Pendu spoke to me one day while I was driving down Shepherd Canyon Road. This would be in Berkeley or Oakland, California. His audible voice said, "Too slow, brother, too slow." My foot came off the brake. I think he was referring to my running, not my driving. Last time he said that to me 12 years ago, he meant to say, "You're off the team. There's only room for 6 runners." Too slow, brother. You're too slow. After I'd run about a mile and worn myself out. And I remember his large, expressive eyes and look of caring regret. Once he had said to me,
It's a big ocean. I had just said, the flight across the Pacific takes 10 to 12 hours. It's a big ocean. He repeated my words back to me with another meaning in his arched brows.
Wow.
I no longer was taking him seriously. He had just said, kill first, find a name later. He was talking about a dog food business he had in mind using human flesh of poor Indians to feed to rich American dogs.
Oh my God.
But Pendu, what shall we call the business? Who cares? Kill first, then find a name. He was talking to a doctor. You're not a doctor. You're a killer. Every now and then you make a mistake and save someone. It's been 12 years. Oh my gosh. You're not a doctor. You're a killer. You every now and then you make a mistake and save someone. It's been 12 years. I can hardly remember any details. He let me run with the torch anyway, along with the other guy who came in last, who told many very bad Elvis jokes. Too slow, brother, too slow. We arrived at Marizad at 4:30 in the morning before the Amar Tithi celebration. What an atmosphere. He and Bal Natu tried to force us to eat lots of those sugary Indian biscuits. Someone lit the torch in Baba's room. Not a good idea, I thought. And then we all, 8 of us, ran with the torch. I was faster in the cool morning air. When we arrived at Mehrabad, Mera and Mani, well, I'm sorry, my phone's ringing in the background. When we arrived at Mehrabad, Mera and Mani were standing on the stone platform where the Duni is located. I remember well Mera's agile feet walking off the platform after lighting the Duni flame. Now I'm typing for myself. You finish the poem. So, we'll have to get Ben on here. I hope he'll come.
Jai Baba.
And
Wonderful. Yes, we
Patty,
should work towards it for sure.
and Patty. Oh, can we hear about
Yeah.
marijuana?
Yeah. And sorry, Rosalie, you're muted.
I found a poem the other day by Ben Lee. So Baba wants to make a connection.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, by Ben Lee. And I have it right around here, but I couldn't exactly locate it. But yeah, if you contact him, tell him Jai Baba. I do remember him.
Definitely.
From my Berkeley days. Yeah. Yeah.
Super. And we have Tina. Tina has put up her hand for some story.
Yeah. It was back in the 80s. I was married. I really wanted to have a child, but it wasn't happening. And so I took all kinds of fertility drugs and, they had a very bad effect on me and had horrible side effects. So I really couldn't take them. So somebody said, why don't you just, go to the Meher Spiritual Center and forget about it for a while. So my husband and I went. And then I think it was one of the first times he had been there, but he was very devoted to Baba. And then I think it was Jane Brown said, have you visited the arts? And I said, no, we never met them. And so she said, well, you should go look at their paintings. and they have a studio, and Lynn is blind now, but Phyllis is still painting. So we went over there, and we were shown some paintings that they had done. And I was really drawn to this one painting. And I said, you know, Phyllis, how much is that painting? I really love it. She said, oh, $500. That's a lot of money. Was for me at that time. And I said, well, you know, I really have to have it. And she said, I said, but I don't have $500. Would you trust me to send it to you? And so she said, of course, you know, and we had never met before, but she just did trust me. And so I, I bought the painting on her word, you know, on the guarantee that I would send the $500 when I had it. And as she was wrapping up that painting, Lynn, who, you know, he couldn't see, so he said, Phyllis, which painting did she buy? And she said, Baba with Child, and that was the night I got pregnant. Pretty amazing stuff.
Jai Meher Baba. Thank you, Tina, for such a
That's beautiful.
loving, intimate share. Thank you. Ah, he, there is. I love that poster on the blue bus in Merazad, Thief of Hearts. And I think I always add one or two more: eternal eavesdropper, eternal liar as well. He says he doesn't do any miracles, but our life is a miracle in his love every moment. Ah, I love that blue bus.
Well, as a postscript to that story, my son, you know, has been very challenging to me, but, you know, I said to Baba sometimes, I wanted a child, but I should have been more specific. He was born the day before Baba, and February 24th, and last a couple weeks ago was his birthday, and he told me his wife is expecting, so I'm going to be a grandma. So I'm very excited.
Wonderful. That's much easier, Tina.
And for that challenge, I would say Baba was enough a challenge for his mother as well. So
yeah, banging his head on the floor and all that.
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
that's
that
right.
reminds the other day, Baba the eternal headbanger as well.
Oh, that's where that came from.
For the rock concert.
Oh, I get it. Oh,
I have a story. I
yay.
could tell my story.
Yeah.
We're like rearranging the living room right now, but it's okay. Okay, I won't tell the whole thing. I'll tell part of it. So when I met Marvin, he had a poster on his wall, happiness lies with making others happy. And I sat down on the couch and I was like, oh, I'm home. So I guess I married him. And so then the dreams started. Baba started coming to me in dreams, and I was like, what? And I was actually into Saint Germain, that violet flame thing. And actually, Jean Adriel ended up on that path, and Baba said that was a real path. But that path led me to Baba on some level. And so then Baba would come to me in dreams. And then so my first meeting, I walked into an Armatithi meeting, and it was the Chicago Center on Morse. And this was January of 1991. And there was Roberta. Lewis, so Birdie, she stays with Bauji. You probably know her. Anyway, it was like seeing a friend I hadn't seen in 3,000 years, or being that connected. So beautiful. And so then what happened was a year later, in early 92, but during this time, Baba was hammering me with dreams. That whole year, I was having these dreams of Baba, and I was like, what is going on here? And now I go, oh God, can't you come to me in my dreams? No. And so it was 92, January, and it was Armatithi time. And there I was in space. I seem to have these space dreams with Baba where I go someplace else and I'm in space and he's there. And we're sitting in a circle with a bunch of people, and Bertie was there and some people I didn't know. And I was like, oh my God, he's coming to my dreams again. Then, right before Baba's birthday, I wonder if this was, right before Baba's birthday, I was in that in-between dream state. I had this vision. And there I was in the Holy Land. And Jesus was walking on the water. And it was an incredible scene. I was up on a hill. There was an olive grove or something. And there were people milling around. And there is Christ. And he was so beautiful. And I'm going to backtrack a little bit. Now, when I was 11, I remember this very distinctly, that my sister and her friend Ramona, we were sitting in the front yard of in my little town in Connecticut, our house, and we're going Om, making fun of, pretending to be yogis. And it occurred to me Buddha was God. And I never felt a connection with Jesus. Never. I was a Virgin. I was a Mother Mary girl from get-go. That's who I prayed to. And so there is Jesus. He is so beautiful. And there was this music that I can't describe, this incredible music. And I walked, and he's like this. He's standing with his arms out, and his hair is flowing, and his black diamond eyes were emanating power, bliss, knowledge, everything amazing, overwhelmingly gorgeous and beautiful. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I walked down, and I touched his sleeve. Don't know why. I don't know if I sunk into the water or whatever. And I asked him, I was like, why did I ask? I feel like I asked him a really stupid question. When are you going to come again and fix the world? And he turns to me and he smiles. And he is the Ancient One. He is Meher Baba. He is Meher Baba. And that was like, oh. And then I think I started to break. But, of course not. So then Marta and I got married in October of 1992. And my mom passed away a few months after Marvin and I met. And so she passed away in 91. So this will be 30 years, March 24th. Her favorite flowers were yellow roses. And so there's a connection with yellow and pink roses. So I believe that someone brought me a heart locket with yellow and pink roses from Baba's and Mara's tomb. After going to Armatithi, she brought me these pink and yellow rose, this locket that had these petals in it. And so there's a thread there. So we got married in October, and part of the thing was I wanted to have a single yellow rose next to my mother's picture at the wedding. Well, that didn't happen. Or yellow roses. It just was forgotten in all the things that were going on. And so we went to, we drove through the Smokies and then ended up in Myrtle Beach. And we stayed, and it was interesting because we stayed in a little town in the Smokies called Townsend, because that is also in my, Pete Townsend, of course, is in my story. Not of course, but he is. And I will, hold on one second. So, yes, I have this book here. See, I have this book. Anyway, so we're going to Myrtle Beach, and we get to the center, and they put us in the lantern cabin, and on the table next to Baba's, no, on the table in the kitchen there was a pink rose. Now this is October, so this is October, and there's a pink rose on the table, but in the bedroom next to Baba picture was a single yellow rose, and I just completely lost it because no one knew. No one knew. So then I tell the story a year later or something. We went to the center, and Jane Brown, and Jane, or maybe that day, maybe it was on their honeymoon. Oh, and there was a lovely little heart box with a little white shell in it. It was so sweet. So Jane tells me the story. Now this is the last year. This is the end of Bob Brown's life because we saw him in October and he was gone the next year. Now, she said that there was a honeymoon cabin and she kept on asking Baba, I need flowers for this cabin. And Bob Brown, those were the last 2 roses from his garden because it was October. So those were very special. And in fact, I have a little box that's origami. We were doing a Museum Store Association show. We're artists and we sell to galleries and museum stores. And the woman next to us sold origami papers and made origami. And she comes over to us with this little green box, and it has a pink and yellow origami rose. And she says, this is for you. I don't know why, but this is for you guys. And there's another part of it. But anyway, so the other part of my Baba story is this book. I have had this book since I was 16 years old, 17. And in this book is, somewhere is Baba's picture. So the truth of it is, that's the first time I saw Baba's picture. But this book in particular would open automatically to this song. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for. This song, Oh Parvatigar, and I would go, Oh Parvanjor, I don't know that song. I didn't even take time enough to even look at it. And I'm telling you, this book used to open to this all the time before I met Marvin, before Baba showed himself. So, that is very funny, but there's a deeper thing. I don't know if I should share this. So this is on record. Can you turn the recording off? I had an experience in my room as a teenager because I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. And this beauty wrote that song, Love's Flame. You knew me, I didn't know you. You found me, I was looking the other way. When I finally saw you, I dropped my guard. Now love's flame burns in my heart. So that in a nutshell is my Baba story. And then I'll just add this sweet, sweet story about, so when I went to India in 94, or was it 95, excuse me, Erich always would ask, how did you come to Baba? How did you come to be here? And I kind of I was talking about Baba coming to me in dreams, and Erich said, you are so fortunate. I don't see him anymore. And look at you, you've got to see him. And that's just so lovely and so sweet and so, and Meru, of course she said, Baba, you will see them coming. like beads on the string, my lovers, my children, and here I am. Yeah, and yeah,
Jai Baba.
and
Jai
then
Baba.
marriage. Yeah. Oh, I could go on. I'm sorry. Marriage.
No, no. You want
Years
to complete
later.
it, please?
Years
Mary used to
later.
say,
Last time.
Mary used to say that if you dream of Baba, this is from Mara, it's not a dream. It's not a dream. Mara.
Yeah.
Baba's Mara, yeah. So I take it, yeah.
So, Erich was asking me in 1999 when I was there, that trip. And I think he asked me in 97 when Marvin and I went together. He would, he would grab me and you'd go and he would greet up all of us. We'd line up and he would grab me by the shoulders and he'd say, "Who is this girl?" And I would get all blushed and flushed and go, "I'm Michelle, I'm this." I answered, and one day I answered, "I'm his." And he slaps me on the back and he says, shakes me and he says, "Yes." And he never asked again. Jai Baba. So here I am.
Jai Meher Baba. That's so beautiful.
Struggling to stay at his feet.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Jai Baba.
All right. So we are coming close to the next program. So we will move towards. Sorry, Tina, was your hand up since early, or would you
Yeah, I have
wanted
an
to share?
anecdote. I'll try
Sure.
to be brief. So, one time I was in Baba's bedroom at the Meher Center, and I don't know if you have ever been there, Roshni, but it's a very holy place, and people are, very reverential. No one speaks. It's like they're praying, they're meditating, and they have little folding chairs set up where you can sit. And so there is one big green armchair. It has a yellow rope on it in the shape of a heart, meaning don't sit there. And it has a sign in front of it saying, "Don't lean against this chair." So I guess maybe Baba sat in that chair, and it's fragile. So one time I was in there, and Theus was in there. For those of you who know Theus, he's I don't know where he's from, but he's kind of very Musk-like, and he's disabled. And anyway, he got in there and he was sitting in this one particular folding chair, and this guy comes in and he goes right over to the green armchair with the sign and the rope on it, and he sits in it. and Theus, it was like smoke was coming out of his ears. He starts screaming at the guy, "Don't sit on that chair!" and the guy said, "Well, it said don't lean against it. It didn't say don't sit on it." He said, "What do you think the yellow rope was for, you idiot?" I think that if Theus had not been disabled, he would have come to blows with this guy. He's like, "Get out of that chair right now! Get out of that chair! Get out! Get out! Get out!" Everybody was looking, because you have to imagine it's a very, very holy atmosphere in there. So this guy gets out of the chair and he goes and he finally, Theus got him out of the chair, and he goes and he sits in a folding chair, and then he's like vibrating and twitching. I thought, there's something about that chair, and when Theus leaves, I'm going to sit in it. Of course I didn't. So then I go into this other room, and Baba had there's a day bed. I think it's called the treasure room, and you can sit on it because and a lot of people want to sit on it because Baba had slept on that bed. And so I sat down on that bed, and you have to imagine that in Baba's house, everything is just pristine. They take care of it very, they're just very, very careful with everything in the house. I sit down on this bed, and suddenly blood is all pouring out from behind my knee, and there was a rusty spring sticking out that they hadn't seen. and it pierced the vein behind my knee. So Wendy came running in, call an ambulance, call an ambulance. And how rushed me over to the urgent care and Access Medical or whatever, get a tetanus shot, stitches. And so about a week later, I ran into Phyllis Ott, and she's like, I heard about your accident. You got to sue them. They got a lot of money, and you could become a wealthy woman. And I was like, Phyllis, I'm not going to sue them. So about 2 days later, I saw her on the beach. She's like, here's the phone number of a lawyer. Call him. But I never did.
Thank you, Tina. My God, what a lively share.
You know the backstory about Theus. Theus for years was the fellow at the tomb. He guarded.
Yeah.
He had such an awareness of the sacred space.
I don't know why this guy sat on that chair. He just saw this guy that said, don't lean against it. He wasn't leaning, he was sitting on it, but he didn't see the yellow rope, I guess. He don't sit on it.
Jai Meher Baba to that.
There's a chart in the chair because he seemed to be having a spiritual experience after he got out of it.
All right. With that, we will move towards playing our Meher Dhun and the Australian Arti. And then if we still have time, Marcia, we'll have you share.
Oh, okay. I can share some other time because it's kind of, I can just do highlights because it's pretty long. Anyway,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. That happens. We had so much of empty time, me asking, please share, please share.
I just rolled out of bed at night.
No, not with you. I'm saying Baba's humor, so much of time, and then we have so much of lovely sharing, and we don't want to stop. All right, Jai Baba to that.
Oh.
Baba, Meher 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 Baba. Meher Baba, 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 Meher Baba. Meher Baba, 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 Meher Baba.
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय।
Oh, glorious, eternal, ancient one, your face is a bright, transcendental sun. Lighten this dark world and the tears I weep. My heart, meher, I give to you to keep. Creator, yet creationless you are. Truth and truth's body, divine avatar. Through compassion, the three worlds maintain. Destroy this ignorance that life sustains. These five lights are the whirling spokes of breath of the world's wheel that bears me unto death. Unless you are infinitely kind, break the wheel of which is conditioned mind. This incense is my love, these fruits my art, which to please you I have shaped from my heart. Accept them as you would a simple flower that has no use beyond its shining hour. You are myself, I sing to you in praise, and beg your love to bear me through the day. Till you, the ever-living perfect one, illume my darkness with your shining sun.
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। We'll have 1 minute of silence. अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। We'll all unmute and say 3 times Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Avatar Meher Baba Ki Jai. Thank you very much, everyone. Jai Meher Baba.